Hello, dear friends. I am Zishan Hashmi, and today I am here to get exposed because the series that we are doing now is called Expose the Mentor. I have three of my students with me, Sakshi, Sahitya, and Deepak. And as you all know, many a times I keep on saying that prelims logical solving skills are very important. We can score higher marks using logical skills, using theorems, and we can solve even those questions about which we have little or no idea. But how realistic is this? Is it even possible? या सिर्फ ये बेवकूफ बनाने वाली बात है. So let's hear this out from the students itself. And today I am going to act as a normal student, as a layman. And in fact, these students of mine are going to act as my teachers. These people will be teaching me that how in real life logical skills or theorems have helped them and can in fact help many other civil services aspirants out there for whom prelims is a big hurdle. So let's start with this interesting exercise. Sakshi, let's start with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do some 2020 questions, Sakshi, which are difficult and which I'm not able to understand. Like I said, for a while, I'm not a mentor, I'm not a teacher, I'm just a layman, right? This question, in the context of Indian history, the Rakhmabai case of 1884 revolved around. Now, there are three options: women's right to education, age of consent, and restitution of conjugal rights. Now, this seems to be a very impossible question to me. Now, can you explain it to me? How can we solve this question without having any knowledge whatsoever?
So, sir, based on the three statements, we can see the first one is a lot more progressive, right, than the second and the third statement. Like age of consent is about marriage, and conjugal rights is also related something to family rights and marriage. So, if we can do odd one out here, so we can eliminate one option, and B might be the answer.
All right. You're saying that it's more progressive and others are less progressive. That's what your logic is.
Yes, sir. Actually, the first statement talks about the education. The second statement talks about the age of consent and the conjugal rights. The both are compatible, but first seem to be contradicting to the second and third statement. So by just eliminating first statement, we'll be getting the option B, sir. So we should take a risk here, assuming we doesn't know about the case also.
Assuming we don't know anything about the case, you're saying statements 2 and 3 are compatible, and statement 1
Yes,
is
sir.
not compatible with the other two.
Yes, sir. It's contradicting. Like statement 2 and 3 are the other direction, and the first statement goes to the other direction. So just eliminating first statement, we'll be getting the 2 and 3 statement.
All right. Now, I would also like to understand how they are contradictory and how the other two statements are compatible. Sahitya, shortly, can you tell how statement 1 doesn't is not compatible with statement 2 and 3? Because I, as a layman, I'm not able to understand exactly how they are contradictory and how statement 2 and 3 are compatible.
Yes, sir. As we know, as we understand the Indian past history, there is to be some social evils like early marriages. So, assuming that, taking in mind of that, so age of consent seems to be feasible, and statement 2 and statement 3 seems to be feasible as talking about the conjugal rights. We're talking about the early marriages to restrict the marriages as well. So, right to women gain education doesn't seem to be feasible as per the time period of 1884 as well. So, just assuming that statement 1 is directly contradicting, it's pulling out our some logical basics. Yes, sir. So just like eliminating statement 1, will be dropping to statement 2 and 3, sir. There are more movements regarding right to education, but not the case as we witness.
Right. I get your point. You're using compatibility test among the options, and you're marking the answer.
And we should be looking after the feasibility test as well, sir.
Feasibility test.
Yes, sir.
All right. Feasibility test in the sense, are the given statements feasible? Are they possible? That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are they possible or not? Like Rakmabai, we doesn't know who's Rakmabai also. So first statement is talking about education. For the education in 1884 in the British Raj period, so there wasn't any priority or any other case regarding the education. We didn't inquire in our spectrum as well, like reading our modern history. So feasibility test goes like this, sir. Like possibility, testing the possibilities of the statements.
Fine. Deepak, don't you think there is a high element of risk here? We are taking risk big time.
Sir, if you really see, sir, we have to take risk. Because the thing is, only if you study so well, you will be doing around 50 question good. But if you see the cutoff, you won't be sailing off. So risk to banta hi hai, sir. With all the one who are clearing, sir, they are totally doing with risk, sir. So, sir, even sir, I had no idea about Rakmabai case, or I haven't read in the spectrum. But you have to derive. Even UPSC is trying to see whether you can do something from the question and something from the option also. So that is the thing.
That makes sense, because even after studying standard books like Spectrum you mentioned, it's not possible to answer this specific question from just our knowledge base.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I get that.
Sir.
Okay, thanks for explaining this question to me from 2020 paper. Now let's see another question from 2020 again. Now, Sahitya, let's start with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is yet another question which I'm finding difficult. I hope you guys help me out. The question is, with reference to chemical fertilizers in India, consider the following statements. At present, the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven and not administered by Government of India. Statement 2 is ammonia, which is an input of urea, is produced from natural gas. And statement 3 is sulfur, which is a raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refineries. Now there are 4 options given, but again I have no idea whatsoever, assuming that I am not the mentor at the moment. So please help me out with this question, starting with Sahitya.
Yes, sir. Sir, as we look carefully, the question talking about chemical fertilizers in India. The first statement talks about at present the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven and not administered by the governor. Sir, it's sounding like an extreme statement, sir. Although agriculture comes under the state list and the concurrent list, the government of India has to be administered the chemical fertilizers and utilities, sir. So its first statement seems like extremely wrong, sir, because all the retail price of chemical fertilizers are administered by the governor. So just eliminating the first statement and second, going to the second statement, ammonia, which is the input of urea, is a byproduct of natural gas. It seems to be feasible, sir. As ammonia, as we know, it's an it is used as urea. Actually, in UPSC standards of paper framing, sir, if the half statement of a question is true, then the next of the statement will be absolutely true, sir. So second statement.
So you are saying if half part of the statement is true, the later part also is generally true. That's what you're saying.
Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir. So second statement is absolutely true. So going to the third statement, sulfur which is a raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refineries. Yes, sir. As we know, sulfur we will be using in petroleum industry and diesel industry. So it seems to be like feasible. So 2 and 3 is absolutely correct. So first statement, it's not administered by the government. It's totally extreme statement, sir. Just like eliminating the first statement, we'll be getting the option B, 2 and 3. So it's the answer, sir.
All right. So according to you, we'll have to eliminate statement 1. And
Yes,
then
sir,
we
yes,
have B and C left. And you are going
Yes, sir.
for option B, 2 and 3. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the
By
reason
eliminating first statement, we'll be eliminating option A and option D as well, sir. So we'll be left over with B and C. So obviously the second statement is true. Assuming that third statement is also true because it's used as oil refinery or oil products also.
all right. That means you are using your pre-existing knowledge here in the statement 3. And
Yes, sir. Exactly.
the logic you are giving up in regarding statement 1 is that it is extreme.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
But Deepak, I'm still a bit confused when it comes to statement 1. Can you make it a bit more easy for me to eliminate statement 1?
Yes, sir. First of all, if you see closely, this is about chemical fertilizers and it is the part of agriculture. You already know that agriculture is a very sensitive topic in the countries or of ours. So it is highly impossible कि chemical fertilizers will be literally given to the market, and there might be chances of exploitation also. By the market passes, the market prices will be increased. So I don't think this is feasible, and this makes sense. So this option will automatically get eliminated. I guess this is easy, sir.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking from a complete layman point of view. Again, when I was talking to one student of mine, so he was again highlighting that, sir, this statement has superfluous words. So I didn't get what superfluous words he was highlighting about. So
Yes, sir. Now, looking at the statement 1 at present. So superfluous words goes like this, sir. If we remove the word, the meaning of the statement doesn't change. So it carries the same meaning.
Yes,
So just by
sir,
removing at present,
present.
superfluous words goes like this, sir. If we remove the word at present, the meaning of the statement remains the same. So superfluous word, statement will be stating the superfluous words, which are absolutely wrong, sir.
okay, so this sounds
it's adding an extreme word, sir.
all
It has an
right.
extreme words.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm trying to understand this.
Basically, suppose you see that at present is written here, so it will try to confuse us whether it is happened recently or not.
Yes.
Okay, so this at present should, even if the chemical fertilizer is market driven, I don't think so at present should be written here, because that is unnecessary.
I'm trying to understand this, and it sounds really
this at present makes the sentence aspirants like us to think absurd, sir.
Okay, this logic sounds really interesting to me, because what you're saying is just by spotting some words which we call superfluous words, like at present in this case, we can eliminate these statements. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now
Yes, sir.
if I'm hearing this for the first time, this may sound really absurd to me or unbelievable to me, because this is something very radical what you are suggesting. Sakshi, you are saying something.
Sir, in the first statement, if something is market driven, so shouldn't we assume that it is not administered by government, but the statement is specifying this thing. So I don't know why there was a need to specify and not administered by the government.
All right, now this is
It could
again
have left the statement at the retail price of chemical fertilizer.
I get that. Now this is even more interesting. What you're saying, Sakshi, is that the later part of the statement, that it is not administered by government, itself is superfluous. That's what you are suggesting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. By your logic, I understand that if something, if the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven, so it is given that it is not administered by the government, and it need not be mentioned, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that second part of the statement itself is unnecessary, and it is sort of a hint given by UPSC so that we can eliminate statement 1. That's the idea I'm getting from the version of U3 guide. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so basically in this second question, we are using the logic of eliminating superfluous words. And that sounds really interesting. All right, now the question seems clearer to me after having eliminated statement 1. All right, let's quickly move to the next question. Now again, this question was very confusing for many students, and for now it is confusing even for me, because presently I am not acting as a mentor. The question being, with reference to Indian elephants, consider the following statements. And the statements are: the leaders of an elephant group is a female. The maximum gestation period can be 22 months. An elephant can normally go on calving till the age of 40 years. And among the states in India, the highest elephant population is in Kerala. So again, very, very confusing for me. I hope you guys can shed some light. Let's start with Deepak.
Yes, sir. So in this, if you look at all the four statements, first one is very easy, that only hai to hata do. So if you eliminate option 3, C and D will go away. And even if you look at the statement 4, among the states in India, even this is superfluous. Plus, if you have closely looked at current affairs, you might be knowing that Karnataka is having the highest population of elephant. So 3 and 4 are easily gone. So 3, 4. So B, C, and D all gets eliminated. The answer is A.
Your dominant logic is that only is present in statement 3, so we should eliminate it. My question
Yes, sir.
is,
Statement 3. Yes, sir, please.
if you have only the in a statement, so have we do we have to compulsorily eliminate that statement?
No, sir, not in
No, sir.
all the cases, sir.
You have to look about feasibility. There is no such hard and fast rule that if only comes, you have to eliminate it. So this statement also looks extreme, that an elephant can normally go on calving till age of 40 years only.
Yeah,
Like there is an
normally also
option.
superfluous word.
All right, fine. I get your take.
Suppose I'm telling you an example. So I live in Mumbai. So if you say that Churchgate is only in Mumbai, it is right, because
Okay.
Churchgate is only in Mumbai, not in other parts. So it is right. So you have to check about the feasibility also. You cannot go about blindly saying that if only is present, you should eliminate it anyway. That is
All right.
nothing.
I completely
But
get
here,
your take,
if
Deepak. Yeah, I completely get your take.
so
Sahitya,
that
you
is
had to add something here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, as we know, we doesn't know about statement 1 and statement 2. Because we never heard about the first and second statement, sir. As we look in the third statement, normally is a superfluous word, sir. If we remove normally, the statement meaning doesn't change. So eliminating the superfluous word, the statement 3 will be eliminating. And the fourth statement, sir, will be too obvious to answer. Like Kerala will be having so many elephants, it's too obvious. So too obvious is too wrong.
Okay.
So whatever statement is too obvious as we think, the statement will be absolutely wrong, sir. So no, elephants population mostly in Kerala. Elephant will be moving from one place to another place in the search of food and water, sir. In the shelter also. So it won't stay in a particular area. It will be going to the different areas. So eliminating 3 and 4 statement, we'll be getting option A, sir.
All right. I'm trying to understand this. Again,
Yes, sir.
I was having an interaction with some students of mine, and they were hinting at the fact that statement 1 is a positive statement because of the reason a female is being given some leading position. Again, it was not very comprehensible to me. Like, can you guys shed some light on this? Like, how statement 1 should be part of the answer?
sir, I would like to highlight this. Maybe we are reading from almost like when we are preparing for UPSC, we are almost reading from 2 years, 3 years. So you will definitely come across two things. First is only in South India, the Nadas and Nayars are matriarchal society, and the second one is elephants. So you cannot bind. You have to have pre-existing knowledge about this. So I already knew about the leader of elephant group is female by what I have studied. So you have to have some pre-existing knowledge. You cannot blindly go on. If this would really work without pre-existing knowledge, many would have cleared.
Right. So you are saying
also it's
Sakshi.
kind of an exception. It's kind of an exception. If we see other animals,
Yes.
there is a male leader. So there are high chances that UPSC would highlight such an exception in a question. And also the elephant was in news at that time. So
Elephants were
doesn't
in
find
news
any
at that time.
Yes,
that, that's
And
why
we
this
doesn't-
can
Yeah, Sahitya.
And we doesn't find any negative in first statement, sir. Just stating that leader of an elephant is a female. So we doesn't find any negative in that. It may be possible also.
Yeah, that's something very interesting to me, that you said there is
Yes,
nothing
sir.
negative in statement 1. That
Exactly,
student of
exactly,
mine,
sir.
that student of mine was also saying that, sir, statement 1 is a positive statement, so it should be part of the answer, because positive statements UPSC keeps them as part of the answer. So
Yes,
I was
it
trying to
helps students.
understand this. How is it? Is it positive? Like, is it positive because a female is being given leadership position? That is that what you are suggesting?
Yes, sir. As we look
Yes,
into the
sir.
ancient past, sir, female is being more emphasized, sir. Like local deities also will be worshipping female as more. So is the chances of getting a female as a leader, sir, rather than male.
All right. This argument is really interesting. That if there is a positive statement, it is more likely to be true. At least that's what I'm getting from your explanation, guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you go by your logics and we keep statement 1 as true, we are left only with option A and D. That is 1
Yes,
and
sir.
2
Yes,
only,
sir.
and 1, 3 and 4 only.
Yes, sir.
Right? And by using your logic, that statement 3 seems to be extreme because of
Superfluous
the
word also.
word only.
Normally as well, sir.
Yes, superfluous words.
Sir, if we can compare second and third statement also. So
Also,
in comparison, the third statement has only, and second one has can be true, can be 22 months. So by that logic also we can select second statement over third statement.
Sir, and 2 and 3 is contradicting, sir. The gestation period is around 22 months, and the maximum period of elephant can be calving only just 40 years. So it's like contradicting, sir. It doesn't seem like feasible. So 2 and 3 shouldn't be possible together.
fine. I get your idea. Statement 1 you chose because of it being a positive statement, and statement 3 you eliminated because of the extreme overtone it has. But again, I think it's risky for me being new to this, right? And again,
Yes,
risk appetite is needed in this one. That's for sure.
Exactly,
Also, sir, if you see, there is 22 months in second option and 40 years in the third option. So we also have that assumption that if UPSC gives number, it is generally false. But in certain cases, when there are two options with two numbers, one of them is generally correct. So even if you go by the thing that is it has normally, that is superfluous word, and only the third option goes very wrong, and hence option B would be correct to choose, taking the risk.
All right. Now this is again very interesting to hear that yes, generally if numbers are given, students assume it to be automatically wrong. But what you're saying is when two statements are provided with numbers, one of them is generally correct. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. But again, this would need very much practice, isn't it? It won't come.
Obviously,
Appetite, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. You
Because,
need practice.
Sir, if 2 and 3 having the numbers, sir, second statement is positive, then the third statement, sir. The maximum gestation period can be 22 months. Yeah, it can be 22 months.
Then third statement has to be wrong
Yes, sir.
because it has
seems
a
to be
Yes, sir.
negative overtone. That's what you're saying. All right.
Yes, sir, yes,
Again, there is clarity over this. But again, I would say risk appetite is really important. Again, here.
Yes,
Without
sir.
that, we can't solve this one. Moving ahead.
UPSC needs from us, sir, taking risk appetite.
Yeah, that's for sure, Sahitya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, moving ahead, this question from 2020. In rural road construction, the use of which of the following is preferred for ensuring environmental sustainability or to reduce carbon footprint? Now, there are a few options given: copper slag, cold mix asphalt technology, geotextiles, hot mix asphalt technology, and Portland cement. Now, again, I am completely blank here, assuming I'm not the mentor. So, I'm really trying to understand what logic I can apply here and can I mark this answer as correct. So, again, starting with Sakshi, what can we do here, Sakshi? How can we mark this one as correct?
So we can use word play here. Like hot mix would be something which would require very much energy. So that won't be environmentally sustainable. So B and C would be eliminated. Then something related to geo and geotextile. It is related to earth and environment sustainability is coming in this sense. So A can be selected. Also, Portland cement is like a normal cement, nothing new technology wise. So how can it be environmentally sustainable?
Achha, so again, that's very interesting that you're saying there is nothing new about Portland cement. So the idea I'm getting from your this thing is if something has to be environmental sustainability, environment sustainability, or has to be some sort of a breakthrough, it has to be some new kind of tech. That's what you're
New
saying.
invention.
Yes, sir. Statement 1, statement 4 sounds similar, sir. Like cold mix asphalt and hot mix asphalt. So one of the statements should be true, not the both the statements. So 2 and 4 together should not be true, sir.
All right, fine.
Yes, sir.
I think
So
again,
eliminating
you are using the compatibility test here. Both
exactly, sir. Exactly, sir.
both hot mix and both cold mix cannot be true at the same time. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir.
So as we look into the options, sir, cold mix technology having the first statement, like first options are option A, and the hot mix asphalt having options B and C, sir. So 2 and 4 both are same in the B second option. So eliminating the B, sir. So having A and C left over with A and C. So hot mix asphalt technology, and the first option is 1, 2, 3, which is talks about geotextile. Geotextile is somewhat feasible as environmental sustainable and environmental friendly, sir. It seems to be feasible, like reducing carbon footprint. So taking risk and going with option A, sir.
Okay, so you are repeating your same argument that positive options, positive statements are more likely to be correct.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Same logic that you used in the earlier question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sakshi, you had to add something.
The slag is also kind of waste product. So if we use it in a main production process, it would be sustainable.
All right, fine. So again, you are again using wordplay, Sakshi, right?
Yes.
And
yes,
feasibility test. I believe you are applying feasibility test. Can so and so thing be used for a sustainable purpose? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Deepak,
Yes,
I think you had to add something to this. We have talked about Portland cement being old. We have talked about geotextile being, in a sense, positive. And we have talked about incompatibility between cold mix technology and hot mix technology. Anything you want to add, Deepak?
Sir, even if you see that first option, copper slag, even in the normal house, sir, we drink in that copper glass also. So that is sustainable. So even if you have to apply the vast range of knowledge that you have, look at everything. Cold and hot cannot be together. चोर और पुलिस एक साथ कभी सही नहीं हो सकते. So you can easily think like that.
All right. So again, I think it's a very interesting example you gave that at homes generally we use copper glasses. That's considered to be a sign of good health. And we see even many products are being manufactured of copper and being sold at premium price because of its health benefits. So,
sir, the copper bottle goes almost around 1,000 rupees in Mumbai.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's being sold at premium price. So again, a good argument, I would say, and I would say it would be an example of extrapolation because, as I understand this,
Yes.
you guys are using your understanding of your own home and applying it to a broader context. That's what I get from your argument.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now this question again seems a bit easier to me after having heard this from you. Of course, I will have to practice a bit more, but at least it seems easier now. Now let's quickly move to the next question. Question 5. This question says that in the context of India, which of the following is or are considered to be practices of eco-friendly agriculture? Now there are 4 different options: crop diversification, legume intensification, tensiometer use, vertical farming. Now tensiometer is something out of my mind, assuming I'm not the mentor for now presently. Now I feel very tense and confused after hearing this word tensiometer, and I feel I can't answer this question at all. So I hope you guys help me out, starting with Deepak.
Yes, sir. So it is all about eco-friendly agriculture. So crop diversification. It is a simple one, that we need to diversify crop to retain the fertility of the soil. So option 1 is right. Second option is legume intensification. Even this is right. कि ज़्यादा intensify करेंगे तो एक fertility जो main है, along with the fertilizers when we do it, तो वो भी एक सही हो जाती है soil के लिए, and even for the eco-friendly agriculture. We don't know about tensiometer. Even I don't know about tensiometer use. Like I had heard it first time. But when you see in the option 4, the vertical farming, you already know there is horizontal farming, there is vertical farming. So they are eco-friendly practices of agriculture. So you already know that 1, 2, and 4. Apart from your knowledge, all these 3 options is right. And 1, 2, and 4 is only in option D. So taking the risk that it is not even a risk now. So 1, 2, and 4 is only an option D. So you can blindly choose D.
All right. Fine. You are saying we can blindly choose D because we know the other things, although we don't know tensiometer. Sahitya.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you like to add something?
Yes, sir. As Deepak said, sir, 1 and 1, 2, 4 seems to be possible and feasible, sir, because it's talking about the eco-friendly agriculture. We literally don't know about what testometer use in talking about. So 1, 2, 4 should be possible. If we are having options 1, 2, 4, sir, it will be having a risk and the options available, sir. So 1, 2, 4 together we'll having only option D, and we'll be choosing option D as the correct answer.
Okay. Here again, I would like to recall this, add this thing. I was again having a conversation with a student of mine, and regarding tensiometer, he said there is a logic of the unheard. And he said that unheard names or unheard terms are
Yes,
more
sir, yes,
likely
sir.
to be true. Again, very confusing for me. I did not understand that as well. Like, can you guys explain this to me?
Yes, sir. Unheard logic we can use in every statement, sir. Like what all a statement we are getting through. So tensiometer seems to be unheard. We never heard about it. Unheard statements and unheard options are absolutely true, sir. UPSC tests this. UPSC does this always because UPSC will be testing our risk appetite. How we'll be assuming the options. So from as we know, sir, unheard logic is perfectly true in the statement, sir.
All right, Deepak.
I completely agree. I would like to even give here example. Uh, um, Here almost it is a slang that something you have not seen is not true. But in UPSC, something you have not seen is completely true.
Yes, sir.
मतलब
Yes, sir.
तुमने यूएस नहीं, मतलब यूएस नहीं है, बट एक्चुअली यूएस है और ये भी सही है. So something as being a human being, you are not capable of knowing everything in this world. So generally ऐसा माना जाता है कि तुमको नहीं पता है तो वो सही हो सकता है.
अच्छा, मतलब
That is the thing.
हमने अगर जापान नहीं देखा, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि जापान नहीं है.
नहीं
That's
है.
what
मतलब
you're saying.
Exactly.
at least in Mumbai there was a thing that in initial days मेरे को ये पता है कि we used to have like तूने USA तो नहीं देखा ना, मतलब USA है ही नहीं, यूरोप नहीं देखा तो यूरोप नहीं है. When we have not stepped outside even the Mumbai, तो हमको क्या पता रहेगा. So that was the logic that I used to derive this. तो अब ये है कि most you should be assuming that you are mostly ignorant, और तो अपने आप वो हो जाता है फिर. So you will
Okay.
assume
So-
that कि हाँ टेंसियोमीटर का यूज हो सकता है, क्यों नहीं हो सकता है.
See, again, this seems to be really interesting argument to me, because if I take your argument to be true and eliminate option 3, add option 3, then I directly get the answer D. 1, 2, 3, 4 all are correct. And
Yes, sir.
as you said, something which we haven't heard, or the word that you used, unheard logic. So such
Yes.
words or such names are more likely to be true as per your argument. Am I correct on this count?
Exactly, sir.
Yes sir, totally.
Sakshi, would you like to add something?
So in this question, we can see that crop diversification has to be true because it's a sustainable agricultural practice. So by that, we can narrow the options to A and D, and 3 is already there. So we
Yeah.
don't even have to think so much about tensiometer. It is just there to confuse us and to leave the question.
Again, a beautiful argument, I would say, Sakshi, because you have to include one that's common sense, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
And
sir.
option A and D are only left. And tensiometer is already present in both the options A and D. So we need not think that much about tensiometer. But to be very frank, I've seen many people just skipping this question because of the term tensiometer being used. And
That the
I would agree.
UPSC has
Yeah.
mostly kept there to confuse us only.
Yeah, I would agree here with you guys that the word tensiometer is just here to test our risk appetite, nothing else. Because I don't think it's really humanly possible for a person to know such technicalities about any particular field or agricultural field in this case.
Yes.
Right, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now this question 5 from 2020 seems a bit easier than it seemed earlier. Now, the last question for today that we are discussing, your friends, is the Vital Vidvansak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Now, there are 4 options given. Now, assuming I'm not the mentor, I'm just a newcomer, I'm just a fresher, I'm totally confused, I'm totally blank. I don't have any idea whatsoever about what option can be correct because I haven't read it. So, can there be a way out of solving this particular question? We'll start with Sahitya.
Yes, sir. Sir, as we look into the options, sir, option C and D is too obvious, sir. Untouchable. The C and D options, they contributed so much for the untouchable people, sir. Gandhiji and Ambedkar Sahab, they have done so many things for the untouchable, so it's too obvious to answer. So eliminating blindly C and D, sir, we are left over with A and B. So Jyotibai Phule, he was meant for women education and he was meant for women things, sir. So he had done some acts for untouchable people. So B also doesn't seem to be fit here. So eliminating B, C, D, we are left over with option A, sir. As this is unheard logic that I never heard about Gopal Baba Valankar.
All right, अच्छा. मतलब जो आपने टेंसियोमीटर में यूज किया पिछले क्वेश्चन में कि that is
हाँ,
unheard,
sir.
so that should be
Yes,
correct.
sir.
So,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes,
you
sir,
are using the
exactly.
same logic here, that you haven't heard about Gopal Baba Valankar, but you have heard a lot about Jyotiba Phule, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. So
Yes,
option
sir,
A
yes.
should be correct. That's what you're saying, Sahitya.
Yes, sir, exactly, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
A very interesting logic to hear. Deepak, what would you add?
Yes, sir. Sir, the options Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Ambedkar is deliberately put to confuse us because we have already read about ki both have done exceptional job in the untouchable people thing. So most of us general students will what go Bhimrao Amji Ambedkar because he has done enough. तो उसने तो लिखा ही होगा. And this is not the thing. If you see closely, they don't have a journal. Even you have read enough, as Sahitya said, Jyotiba Phule has done for Women Education Society. He wanted the supremacy of Brahmins to end, but he didn't write any journal. So the only option that is left is Gopal Baba Valankar. So you have to go with the Gopal Baba Valankar.
यू आर अगेन तुम और एक बहुत अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग लॉजिक यहाँ पर दे रहे हो दीपक. ऑप्शन ए के बारे में तो साहित्य ने बोला कि दैट इज अनहर्ड, सो दैट इज मोर लाइकली टू बी. अदर ऑप्शंस लाइक ज्योतिबा फुले, महात्मा गांधी, भीमराव रामजी अंबेडकर, यू सेड what I get from your argument कि these are deliberate and explicit options, and
Yes,
these are there to confuse us, and so we
Yes,
must
sir.
be mindful of direct, deliberate and explicit options. That's what I am getting from your argument, Deepak. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because sir, UPSC will never give you direct answer in any option. You have to derive something from each and every question. तो सिंपल है. हम तो सोचेंगे कि अंबेडकर ने और गांधी जी ने अनटचेबल्स के लिए बहुत किया है. गांधी जी ने हरिजन भी बोल दिया था. तो इन दोनों में से ही कोई होगा. और हमने गोपाल बाबा वलंकर के बारे में सुना नहीं है, तो शायद वो होंगे भी नहीं.
All
We
right.
normally we will do this, but यूपीएससी में एक स्टेप आगे बढ़ के थोड़ा और सोच के you have to do, otherwise तो नहीं होगा.
Again risky, but the way you guys are talking, I think your risk appetite is at the next level, guys. All three of you, Sahitya, Deepak and Sakshi.
Yes.
Sakshi, would you like to
Yes, sir.
add something here?
Yes, sir, we can use extrapolation also, because if we see Ambedkar ji, he was following Buddhism, and the Vitthal name is associated with Hindu religion. So he was a form of Vishnu. And in the case of Gandhi ji, we can see he would name his journal something which would have a name related to the nation. Like if you see Hind Swaraj, it doesn't have regional name.
All right.
So by that extrapolation, we can eliminate C and
Again,
D.
even we found this something new.
Yes, yes.
I think it's a Marathi name. It's not Vitthal. I think it's Vitar. Vitar Vidvansak.
It's not Vitthal. Vitthal has different spelling.
Yeah, but I think her logic was very much correct. If there was such a name, such a regional name, say for example, Vitthal, she gave the example of Vitthal, though she interpreted it wrongly, but it hints at the mandate of the thing being discussed, isn't it? So I think again you were trying to use wordplay, Sakshi.
Yes, the wordplay and extrapolation also.
Wordplay and extrapolation. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So we have discussed 6 questions from 2020, and you guys have given different logics, different ideas in each and every question. Just to sum up, like first we discussed Rakhmabai case of 1884, and as you guys told me, the dominant theme that I understood about compatibility test, 2 and 3 statements are compatible, 1 is not compatible, so we eliminated 1 and we marked the right answer. In the second statement, there were 3 options, and in option 1, in statement 1, there was superfluous word. In fact, the second part of the statement was superfluous as per your argument, and by that virtue we marked the correct answer. In statement 3, we were given 4 options. Again, we had no idea about the first 3 options, specifically about the second and third option. But again, you gave me that hack. When numbers are used, one among them is more likely to be true. And again, we eliminated one statement because of the extreme overtone. In the next question, you guys again talked about the positive aspects of the options. Like in the earlier question as well, a female leading a group, as you said, is a positive statement, so it is more likely to be true. Again, in this case, you guys considered geotextiles to have a positive overtone, copper to have a positive overtone. You gave me the example of your home using a copper glass for health benefits, environmental benefits. Again, you talked about compatibility test, cold mix and hot mix cannot go together. And you also talked about the feasibility test. Portland cement is something very old, so it can't be that breakthrough when it comes to environmental sustainability. Again, in the next question, you guys talked about tensiometer and gave me the logic of the unheard. You said that unheard names or terms are more likely to be true. And in the last question that we discussed, Vitar with Vansak, you guys chose option A, which is again the correct answer. And again, you gave me 2 logics here. One is logic of the unheard. Option A, Gopal Baba Valankar is least known among the 4 options. So option A should be true. That's what you said. And another logic that you gave, that Jyotiba Phule, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar are 2 direct and options, 2 deliberate and 2 explicit and options. So direct, deliberate and explicit statements have to be avoided. That's what you said, right? So we chose option A. Like, guys, overall, have I understood your logics, your theorems roughly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, yeah, we have got it.
All right. So I think it was a really interesting exercise, Sahitya, Deepak and Sakshi, because daily we meet on Habitat in a reverse relationship. I am the teacher there, I am the mentor there. And although I am a mentor, our interaction is more like friends in the
Yes,
clubs.
Yes, sir.
But whatever club it may be it prelim specific clubs, be it main specific clubs. And like, just to tell to the students who are watching, you guys were part of my Revealed Club, and through which we got to know each other. Although Revealed Club is on hold for now, like you all know, we are doing with Destroy Prelims. That's why Revealed is on hold, and we are
Yes.
putting more emphasis on Destroy Prelims. Again, Destroy Prelims is based on this very philosophy. It has test series and all. So that's a different thing. But again, I think it was a very enriching exercise, a very interesting exercise, where I think my students could teach me the very skills that I have been teaching them. And I think the true worth of a teacher is in the fact that how well he or she has been able to teach his students, and how well his students are able to practically apply the things, the skills the teacher has already imparted. I think that's the true test of a teaching process. So I think we can end it here. The video is already becoming a bit lengthy, and I would be coming with another student of mine. Now this time it was Sahitya, Deepak and Sakshi. Now another set of students, I'll be catching hold of them and bringing them on the video and having such interesting interactions with them. For now, let's end it here. Thanks a lot, Sahitya, Deepak, Sakshi. I know Deepak has to go to work. Sakshi also had to wake up early because of this video. And even Sahitya. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shakshi.
Thank you,
All
Deepak.
right. Chalo.
Thank you,
No
Bye, guys.
problem.
Bye.